everyone. Welcome to the podcast. It's me, Kelly Birmingham, talking about my 25 plus year career working with children and adults across the autism spectrum. And as usual, my partner in crime is here, Jen, mom to Dylan and Ethan. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Kelly. Happy summer.
Happy summer. What a heat wave, huh?
Yes,
Whew.
definitely.
Well, this is our last podcast for season 1, and we did it.
Yeah, we did. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
So if people are listening, we started this podcast in the middle of the pandemic. We started it, planning it in September, launched it in October, and we have talked about some amazing things. We have talked, if we think back, we talked about Ethan, your son Ethan was on, and he talked about being a sibling. We had a whole bunch of siblings talk about what it was like from their perspective, having a sibling on the autism spectrum and having ABA therapy.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm always proud of him. He does a good job. He's a natural.
He's a natural, and he was like our top rated podcast of all time.
Oh, of course he was. Don't tell him that.
And we've talked about conservatorships
and
what that looks like.
Mark? Yeah, and I just got a phone call about it's been 2 years since Dylan's and just had a review, so I think I passed.
And tell what was the review like? They called?
It was nice. Yeah, well, usually they actually just show up, and there's always a court investigator that comes and just sees how Dylan's doing and sees the environment and asks questions, and but because we already have conservatorship, so this is just a review, like a biannual review, and because of COVID, they did it by phone this year. But I think too, they have all the information and stuff. And so it's just giving kind of updates of where he was at and stuff. Of course, it's always a little surprising because they just call out of the blue. So, making sure, luckily, being on your game and stuff. So, but it went totally fine. I am almost scary that I can know everything and remember dates and,
wow,
dosages, the medicines and like everything and all his services like off the top of my head. So I probably had that girl spinning because I was rattling so fast, like if she was trying to take notes, good luck. But it always makes me kind of feel really positive and good about Dylan. Like it's always nice to say all these good things that are happening, but then also being realistic that like this kid still needs 24-hour supervision and that he's still going to need support, and so it's like a balance of like excitement but reality that, hey, this is still the long haul, right? But I thought it went really well, so I hope anyways. You always feel a little pressure, sweating a little extra even though it's hot.
Yeah, the Mark Woodsmall and his group were awesome to share all their information about conservatorship. Definitely. And then, if you remember, our second highest rated podcast was when we talked about, it was featuring Dylan, and we said, wear a damn mask already.
Yes. And, as it was just lifted in California yesterday, which, I'm a little weary on how quick it just went one extreme to the other. But, at least we will be continuing to wear masks. Like when we're out, I kind of feel like I got Dylan so adjusted to doing it, and why take chances and why not continue? I know like his school program, they still have to wear them on certain medical places, and like everybody, when I put him on the bus, the bus driver's wearing one, his BI is wearing one. So I want to keep up that consistency. One thing when you talk about Dylan wearing the mask that was super cute was, this guy likes to go out and he's a mover and shaker. So I finally surprised him on Sunday and took him to the movie theater. And man, I scouted it out. I was like, okay, how are you gonna buy the tickets? And he likes to buy snacks, and he likes to sit in the last row, which works out
Yep.
especially right now.
Yep.
But I was so proud of him because he was so serious about getting to do this and doing it right, and not, having problems. But one thing I noticed is when we got him all his snacks, he gets a big popcorn and a lemonade and M&Ms. And so we were sitting there, and he by himself, he put out a napkin on his lap, and he looked at me. I'm like, it's fine. He took off his mask, but every time he in between was eating, he just himself put the mask back on and was totally wearing it and so good. And I'm so proud of him. I still can't believe it sometimes of how great he has been about it. Dylan Jones could teach many people lessons of how to act proper during a pandemic. So go figure, right? But yeah, the guy's got it down.
He was a role model and should be for most citizens, frankly.
And honestly, I got a funny story about last night. So we went, he started job training at a new place last night. So I took him out to his favorite places, well, besides Disneyland, is Barnes and Noble Music. And
Yes.
So I was like, okay, let's go to the bookstore. He had his mask on and said, well, there's not that rule there anymore. So some guy is like, we came in, he turned to look at something, and this guy walks up by him, past him with no mask. And he's like, mask, please, to the guy. So Dylan's still trying to set people straight.
He's trying to police everyone.
Yes, exactly. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. So
that's hysterical. Well, speaking of employment, some cool things have come out of our podcasts. We did some podcasts on employment, and the New Vista School that my husband runs, and their career academy, they are going to actually this summer work on helping us sort of rebrand.
Yeah.
And do the students there, the marketing. And so I've sent them some different pictures and logo kinds of ideas, and they're going to spend their summer teaching the kids how to do that, make logos and marketing and all of that. So we're totally keeping it all in the family, and having those students learn how to do that and helping us.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It's a win-win.
It is a win-win. And then our podcasts on sexuality, which is my favorite one. With you and
it's all fun for you, Kelly.
For you and Barbie talking about it was my favorite. But as a result of that, I got asked to give a presentation to a bunch of BCBAs on topics. So I'm going to be in July doing a webinar on it.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely, it's like, I think with any kid, it's not the topic that you want to have to think about or talk about, but obviously it's necessary,
Yeah.
And it's definitely different. And I know most people we know are, females, single moms that are raising children on the spectrum, and a lot of them happen to be boys. And so, that's just a whole nother dynamic that have to deal with, a part that we're not used to ourselves. So.
And the other thing I'm hoping to focus on when we come back in the fall, which is when we'll start season 2, is there are a lot of so do you know that 50% of all BCBAs have only been certified in the last few years?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And 70% of them have been working less than 10 years. And
Yikes.
and I know, right? In such a young field, and in the coursework, because I used to teach the coursework at Chapman.
I remember.
You have to specifically infuse information about children with autism and the family dynamics, and it's not something that people get training on. And so I'm looking at how to get more BCBAs to listen to our podcast, because we're giving really, like, the information you all are sharing is critical for BCBAs when they come into homes to understand, like, parent perspective and family dynamics.
Yeah, for sure. We've been very fortunate that we've had some really great experiences. Especially in home and privately. We've had a good run. I've been pretty lucky with even the school district, but it is interesting. Obviously you want the most qualified, the best trained. And I know just from a personal experience, it's not easy. You're still learning all the time. But one thing that I feel like, especially you and some other people have been great about in the past, are that you really listen to the families and you really have them participate. And I think that probably the newer ONs, and some of it I'm sure is involved because of insurance and stuff, trying to get things, even what the programs are, that, it's a little more difficult, and, it's probably the way people are being like trained and educated, but really, I guess it's like anything else, unless you walk the walk, you don't really, it could be a little difficult. But I'm very appreciative of everybody, but I definitely think, with all of us in life, the more training that we can get, the better.
I'm giving a presentation to our all of our ABA team at my company. Actually, I think I'll ask you to join me.
I love that.
It's about the concept of extinction, which is a behavioral principle, which is, like, just ignore the behavior. And I mean, from a parent, I can't get parents to ignore certain things, especially if it's a tantrum or, any kind of aggressive act, even if it's for attention. How are you expected to ignore that?
Well, and honestly, it's not a one size fits all. As you know, for Dylan, sometimes it's not good. Like you express that with, and you've seen that with my son, Ethan. We've tried that strategy, and a lot of times, like, that doesn't work. And if you do it, like Ethan does it like in a joking, playing way, when Dylan's doing some sort of behavior or starting to escalate. And if anything, it kind of like tickles or talks him out of it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas if you just try to ignore it, he's just not going to let it go. You know what I mean?
And that's the extinction burst aspect of ignoring behavior and extinction. But that extinction burst can be so difficult for so many families and kids that there's so many other things we could do instead.
And for sure. I don't know why. I just had a vision of myself once, and I think I was talking to you on the phone, but I was driving and Dylan was mad, and he checked an entire lemonade at my head when I was driving. And I remember just like, trying to do extinction, trying to act like nothing happened as I'm drenched and sticky and just, so don't even get me started. And I remember just glancing over, and the person in the car like next to me was like so shocked, like must have seen it, happen in real time, right? But there are moments when just really crazy things happen, and it's like that is the hardest thing to even do yourself, is like, how do I actually ignore that I just got checked in the head by of course, a large lemonade.
And he was doing it to try to get your attention. So an ABA person would say, ignore it, but how can you ignore that?
It was not fun. Right.
I think we were talking on the phone when that happened.
Yeah, we could do multiple podcasts of just wild stories for sure.
Right. So I'm going to give that presentation and talk about all the other strategies that can be done for families instead of extinction. So
Yeah,
I think I'll ask you to join me from the parent perspective.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I always liked about of styles that I think are appropriate are Dylan does not, and honestly, most kids that I know do not respond to like I call it the robotic, ABA strategies, where especially it used to drive him crazy and it used to kind of drive me crazy. And even Ethan was little and would say, why do they keep asking him over and over, like, what his first and last name is or whatever. Like, he obviously knows it, like, and the whole 10 times and
Yeah.
it's funny
Mass
because
trial, drill and
yes, and
kill.
it was just like it would drive Dylan crazy. Like
I
I
remember.
already told you already, and but I mean, but there are certain services that he has had with ABA that was not the style. And
Right.
Dylan is definitely into, and every kid's different, but he's definitely into movement or like get down on the ground. I remember used to make forts and like
Yeah.
turn the lights out and crawl in there with him and like and just his eye contact was better and
Yep.
speech was better and
Yep.
behavior. Or we used to do multiple therapies with movement. We used to do horse therapy, we used to do the gym,
Yep.
swimming. We used to do like even ABA and even some speech like in the pool,
Yeah.
like getting them moving and stuff. So I think really just getting creative, and just again knowing that it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else, everybody's like unique and special, and and so we gotta tune into that.
You know, it reminds me, I remember early on, when I first was trained in ABA, we were trained to use, less language, shorter words,
Yeah,
sing-songy voice, like Dylan, touch
yeah,
head,
yeah,
right? I was definitely trained that way. And then after a while, I was thought, well, this feels weird. And I remember you and I always just talked to Dylan
yeah,
at whatever age he was at, we treated him like that age.
yeah.
And he understood everything. And he
Oh,
actually
totally.
responded better when we talked to him
Yeah.
the
I
right
want to
way.
give a shout out also to some teachers that
Yep.
are like really good with that. And I gotta give a shout out just thinking just when you said that, one of the best teachers that he had was Mike Seiler.
Yes.
And we're still really good friends.
Yep.
And he was so awesome with all the kids because he was so opposite of that. And like
Yep.
he was teaching them like from day one. And he was like, first through third at the time of slang and stuff. Like you would not go in as like, hello Dylan, what, oh good morning, what's your name, who am I, you know what I mean? It was
Yep.
like, hey dude, give me a high five, how are you, what's up? And like and then Dylan just started doing that like just naturally in other situations, and it was just so much more real,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
so I definitely think like, that's a way better approach. Yeah. Very done. Definitely like some situations, and he used to hate speech
I
therapy.
was
Still
just
does.
going to say
Yeah,
that.
he hates speech. He's always gonna hate speech.
Yep.
OT, ABA, the social skills, all about it, and
Yeah.
other things. But it's just funny because I just remember too, like, yeah, just you just gotta talk to them like they're anybody else, and definitely like Dylan's funny because he still does it. I try to do things all age appropriate. He's 21, but he goes and slips into these like, especially at home, I call it like his closet Elmo and stuff,
Yep. Yep.
where even like in the car and stuff, like he starts singing, and he knows it drives me crazy, but I'll sing it with him. Like I'm like, hey, if it's at home or in the car, he's made it through the school day or work or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll start singing like the Teletubbies theme song and stuff. But I draw the line at Barney and Friends. That's the one. Sorry, not doing it, dude.
Yeah.
But it is funny.
I'm trying to remember what year it was. And for some reason, I'm thinking preschool, but it
Mhm.
might have been, it was pre-Seiler as the teacher.
Yeah.
And there was a speech pathologist who was just like, you could tell didn't like Dylan and
Yeah.
didn't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he was always aggressive and
Oh
would
yeah.
have a speech
You
with
even
her.
pick her out, man.
Yeah, and he would pick her out of a crowd and be like,
Oh
nope,
yeah.
you don't treat me well and I don't feel good around you, so F you.
Yeah. Well, Dylan's always been a good judge of character with people. He's definitely, with it on
Yeah,
that. And
Melanie's like that too. Melanie
yeah.
can spot a phony a mile
Well,
away.
he was funny, like when I took a while to like bring people around, but whether it's not, someone to work with them or friends or even like when I started dating, after my divorce, he was funny because like, and even Ethan's like, oh, he's on it, man. Like Dylan, if he don't like you, he'll literally, you think he likes you, he'll walk it up and like grab your hand and he'll show you the door and open the door and be like, goodbye, and like slam the door. And it's like, but he's like, he was always honestly is spot on.
Everyone should have a Dylan when they're dating to
Yeah,
find out.
exactly. Sounds like the buzzer. He's like the gong, the gong show. Get the hook.
I've seen him do that before.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been a super fun experience doing this. We've met
Yeah.
some cool people too.
Yeah, we did. I think we had some really great guests.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to hear everybody else's perspective and experiences, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been awesome. And we've been together, you and I, so long, and it's just we've always been trying to find something to do together, and
Yep.
like I love it. And you know how I feel about you. I respect you so much, and the fact that you would even let me be part of this is like a really big thing to me. So thank you.
Well, I mean, there's no one else. I wouldn't do this with anyone else. And, I was looking for something to do, as you know, because it was a pandemic. And then all of a sudden I found myself in this weird, awful, awkward situation in my career. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, I need something to keep my sanity. And
Yeah.
doing this kept you and I connected through the whole pandemic. And we
Mhm.
got to have Hope involved and Kate
Yeah.
and Barbie and
Oh yeah.
Michelle Hyde and
Yeah.
like get a bunch of Tracy
Yep.
and get a bunch of people and stay connected.
Yeah, for sure. And just keep everybody, all of us, like sane too,
Yeah.
during all this.
Yes, no
For
kidding.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
sure.
we basically tried to work out how we were going to deal with a pandemic over this podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And it will be cool. Like once we come back, I'm sure we'll have plenty of material after the summer, because that's when a lot of people have like very long breaks and a lot of time with their kids. And
Yep.
So yeah, for sure.
And Melanie is, now that things are opening, wants to get back going to her furry conventions.
Oh wow, okay.
So I
saw a picture, or I saw a video of you and her in a car. Yeah.
that was an old video, but
Oh, okay.
her and I were talking about it and we got laughing so hard that I posted it. She used to take her fur head and put it
Yeah.
on, and we drive through places and crank
Yeah.
music and just have
That's funny.
so much fun. And there's the whole furry thing is a whole, there's
Oh, yeah.
definitely like a sexual component side of
Yeah.
it, but there's
Yeah.
also a non-sexual, more like anime cosplay side,
Oh
which
yeah, for sure.
where she's at.
Yeah, it's funny, I went to a private art school in Laguna Beach, and I hear that that's like a big thing now.
Yeah.
That a lot of the students are into that, and then a lot of their art actually reflects that.
Well, that's interesting. We used to
Yeah.
go every year to San Jose to the annual
Mhm.
convention,
That's
and
fun.
Melanie has stayed at her job at for the last 2 years. It shut down briefly during the pandemic, but she has saved $1,500 to get.
Wow.
I know, to get
That's more than me.
to get a new suit that she
Oh, cool.
wants. And so she is She finds the artist, she finds
Mhm.
a suit maker, she picks it, draws it, colors it, does
Oh,
all the
that's
stuff.
awesome.
And then we do what's called a duct tape dummy,
Uh-huh.
where we put like a painting outfit on her and wrap
Yeah.
her in tape and then cut it out. And then that's how they know
Oh, that's cool.
her body measurement. So
Oh, that's fun.
we dig it. So we can't wait to get back to that too.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to see the new costume when it's finished.
Yeah. It's very cool how she does it.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's been a fun season.
Yes, it has.
We're gonna take our summer off. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we can actually see each other in person now.
Yeah,
So
I'm so excited.
I'm gonna come see you and Dylan. I think I've seen you guys once during the pandemic. I stopped by
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to get the tribe together and have
Yes,
some drinks.
absolutely. For sure.
Awesome. All right, Jen, I'll see you tomorrow, but everyone
Okay,
else,
sounds
have a
good. Bye,
wonderful-
everybody.
have
Have
a
a great
wonderful
summer.
bye.